And welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Dana. I'm a mama to 4. I currently have a 7-year-old, 5-year-old, 2-year-old, and a 3-month-old. It's kind of funny that I actually have to think about it, but when I'm naming ages, I just do. On my channel, I love sharing our homeschooling journey, as well as honestly just simple living and motherhood and things like that. But if that is something that interests you, I'd love to have you join our family, and you can do so by subscribing down below. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you our upcoming second quarter unit study. I have made previous videos in the past. I will have the 2 linked down below that I'm going to be referencing here, one of which kind of explained why I was choosing to do my first grader social studies this way instead of an actual curriculum. I mentioned in that video that we are going to break it up over about 4 to 5 different larger unit studies throughout the school year and just do it that way. So he's doing the CLE program right now, or should I say curriculum, and is loving it. So what I did, and I did mention this in my previous video when I was talking about this as well, I kind of went onto the CLE's website and looked at their social studies scope of sequence and kind of created my own social studies, so to speak. But this unit that we're going to be doing on for the second quarter here is going to be about family. So we're going to do a few activities about family, do some family tree research, look at family photo albums, kind of see how everyone relates to one another even outside of the family and things like that, whether it be related by marriage, whose cousins are whose, second cousins, third cousins, and things like that. So it will be a family unit study, as well as kind of feelings and emotions and just how to label them and deal with them and things like that. So these are things that honestly, when it comes to a family and emotions, these are honestly things that you don't need an actual study for, because you work through emotions and feelings on a day-to-day basis. So these are not things that you actually need. These are more books that I know that we will be intentionally talking about it. So naturally, as parents, when those big feelings do come up, we tend to just handle them and everything like that. But these resources are just something that we can intentionally actually sit down and talk through either a feeling together, so they know the next time they have that feeling, they can label it and know what it is and that type of thing. So that's the intention behind this unit. And again, it's just following the CLE scope of sequence for the first grade social studies. Anyways, yes, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. As I mentioned in a previous video, we kind of replaced our morning basket with an evening basket, and we love doing that. We loved doing our kind of devotion / character manners and everything like that. We loved doing that in our evening routine. It was something that my husband kind of read aloud and did with the kiddos as well. It's just so peaceful and quiet, and our family has always loved the evenings. So the first book I have is called Zoe's Hiding Place. And now I have shared this book several times on my channel. I actually don't have the slip cover for it anymore. It disappeared somewhere, but I do love this book, and it addresses the topic of anxiousness very, very well. The first Bible verse it talks about is from Psalms 46:1. It says, "God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble." But the story is just really, really sweet, and it's just a really, really good way to bring up anxiousness to kids, whether or not that be feeling afraid, feeling nervous, and just those types of feelings. This book is great for that, and it's in a really cutely illustrated done way. Another one I have, and this is not necessarily an actual feeling or emotion attached to it. I guess it could be depending on how you look at it. But this is The Otter Who Loved to Hold Hands. I love this one because it is really about this little otter who feels really, really safe, but safe and loved enough to let go, if that makes sense. So he always worried about swimming and about diving and about getting lost. And so he didn't ever want to let go. And he was afraid and again scared and nervous and anxious about letting go and everything like that. And then when Mom finally opened the oyster shell, Otto saw a beautiful shiny pearl gleaming inside. And then once he took it with 2 hands, he realized he was no longer using both hands to hold on to his mommy, and he realized how brave he was. And so it goes on to like how he became happy when he stopped being afraid and things like that. And so it's really, really sweet. And again, it's not intentionally like those feelings type mentioned books, if that makes sense, but I do use it in that way because I think it's a really sweet story too. So this one, oh my goodness, I probably cry every time I read it, but this is I Love You Forever. This is such a sweet, sweet book. I highly recommend not just reading this to your little ones, but just reading this for yourself as a mama because it's beautiful. A mother held her new baby and very slowly rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she held him, she sang, "I'll love you for always, I'll love you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." So they kind of go through the entire childhood of the baby, so in toddlers, when they're little, and it's all about how she sneaks into his room every single night, even as a teenager, and kind of sings that "I love you forever, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." And then of course he grows up, he moves out, And even when he's old and is sick, she goes over and holds him. And it ends with it being reversed. So it ends with her son being the one to hold her and rock her, singing the same "I'll love you for always, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be." It's just so sweet. And then it goes on to the next generation, and this is why I love this, because it also shows the kids the importance of kind of establishing those sweet, I don't know what to say, traditions, I guess, for your little ones, because as this book mentions, they go on to the next generation. So this daddy now, who is rocked and sung every single night, now goes to his baby and does the same thing to his baby. It is just a really, really sweet story. Again, very, very emotional. So this is a good way for the kids to kind of just, I don't know, to talk about their feeling, I guess. But I love it, and they almost get teary-eyed too whenever they do this, but I love it. So this is another one that, again, I've shared multiple times on my channel, but this is Fritz and the Beautiful Horse. We love this book. It has been one of our favorites. I actually first read this when my first grader was in preschool. This was part of, I think it might have been his preschool or kindergarten curriculum, I can't remember, but it was from My Father's World. Anyway, this was such a great, great story. It's about a little horse, and again, this is more along the feelings of this little horse did not fit in. He didn't feel welcome because he didn't look like all of the others. But at the end of the day, this little horse who may not have fit in and looked as glamorous as all the other horses ended up being the one that saved the day, ended up being the one that the children just adored and loved, and he ended up being adorned at the end and ended up being the hero who saved the day. And so I like talking to the kiddos really about this little horse who was also brave and courageous, may not have looked the most brave and courageous, but because he was on the heart, then he was able to accomplish what he needed to, and these children just adored him for it. So this is a great, great book, especially if you're doing a similar type of like that, either character building or feelings type unit study. This one, and again, I have shared this before on my channel as well. All these are probably going to be familiar to you, but this is one of my daughter's favorite, and that is part of the Princess Parables. This is Princess Charity's Courageous Heart. My daughter loves these books. They are so, so pretty, first of all. But this one is off of the parable of the Good Samaritan. So it is, again, being brave and courageous, doing things that no one else may either like you to do or want you to do, and still doing it anyway because you know that is the right thing to do and that honors the Lord. So this is a new book for us. At least I got it probably 3 weeks ago, and we are loving it. This is one of the sweetest books about kindness I have ever read. It is called Tiny Drops of Kindness, and it is so, so, so sweet. So this little boy who has, and honestly this little boy reminds me of my son. First of all, his favorite color is yellow too, so he has this little yellow umbrella, and I don't know, this book makes me so happy, and so I loved reading it to my little people. But it's Luke. He's kind and a funny little guy, and this is Luke's yellow umbrella that keeps him dry. So they go through the whole story, and the whole story is about him helping people when it's raining using his yellow umbrella. So he saves the day for so many people. So he saved this little girl's day by helping her walk through the rain because she had this clay frog who was going to get wet. So he saved the day for her by taking the umbrella out to her, and because he helped her, she made it to school and her project passed. And then again, another rainy day, he looked out the window and saw a man was on his way to his first job interview, but the rain was turning his hair all sloppy, so he goes and saves the day with his yellow umbrella. And of course, he gets the job. And then another one was this young lady was carrying a pie to her sick mama, and because the pie was getting wet, she was very sad, so he again carried his yellow umbrella and saved her day as well. I love this. So he's all about helping each other, helping them get through their day. And it kind of talks about the whole concept of paying it forward. I was trying to think of the name, but yeah, the phrase paying it forward. It's a really, really good concept of teaching the kids kind of what that means. So because he did this act of kindness, this little girl went on to do great, amazing things. But because his act of kindness, this little girl was able to make her mama happy. And because of Acta's kindness, this guy was able to get his first job and things like that. And because she won a prize, because he helped her be able to win the prize, she then went on and sculpted bigger animals and made beautiful pots all day, and everyone in town wanted to buy her beautiful works of clay. And then they always tie it back to because he helped her win that first project. And same with the man who was interviewing for his first job that he helped not get wet. He loved his new job and wanted to give back, so he bought a hungry boy some tasty snacks. So again, just kind of paying it forward and kindness and everything. And then what happens is one day his umbrella breaks and all of his boots fill up. He gets really, really cold, and everybody that he helped in his life come and help him. So it's just a really, really sweet story. You know, the lady that was baked a pie, brought him a pie. And it's just it's a really, really sweet, sweet story about spreading kindness, kind of how kindness impacts people, not just in those little ways, but huge ways that you don't even realize that it's impacting such a huge part of their life. But definitely a great book and great for this type of unit study. So another book, and I have shared this twice before on my channel now, but it is newer to us, but we are going to read it again, and we're probably actually going to get the longer version out and read that as well. But this is just one of those ones that we can read within that 5 to 10 minute window before bed if we don't have time for a whole chapter of the story. But that is the Do Great Things for God series. This is the Corrie ten Boom, and again, this is about bravery and courage and faith and just all the wonderful, wonderful things little ones can learn from reading about this amazing woman. So this is definitely a top one we're going to be doing. I have a few more from the series as well that also have to do with like courage and especially that strong type of faith, but I'm not sure yet if I want to save it for kind of like our history unit study. So I'm probably just going to hold on to this one for this study and then use the other ones for the next one. But the Do Great Things for God series is actually really, really good. So the next thing I have, and this is something that's actually not necessary at all, it's just something fun and something that I decided to do with the kiddos as, again, a fun activity to do during the school day. But this is called A Little Spot of Emotion. It comes with 8 little spots, but this is the book it comes with. It's called A Little Spot of Feelings. And I honestly got this because I thought this would be a really, really fun way to kind of introduce kiddos to the exact feeling of when they're feeling it and kind of how they're feeling. So it not only comes with the actual book, but it comes with these cute little spots right here. So for example, this is the love spot and it has like the word on the back and things like that. And so what I will typically do is I will set these, that's the love one, I will set these out on our table for when it comes to doing our school and everything. And if they are feeling something throughout the day or feeling something either during the school day, and I won't leave these out all the time because my 2-year-old will take them and run with them, quite literally, just take them and run. So this is the happiness one, and my little guy loves this one. It reminds me of him as well because it's yellow. And there's peace, like when you feel peace in your heart. And so they will just come grab these whenever they're actually intentionally thinking about how they're feeling. They'll come and grab one of these and put them on their desk. This is the little nervous guy and that type of thing right here. And then this one is the confidence. My little guy also loves that one. And then I also have the sadness one. And then the mixed up one here is scribble, like the little jumbled one who doesn't really know how he's feeling. So that little spot, and yeah, that's all of them. But it's just a fun way for kids to throughout the school day, because they like to grab one of these little spots and sit them on their desk. So they'll take this little guy and like pop this go right on his desk, and they'll like just play with it and things like that. But I think it's a really fun way for them to stop and think about, oh wait, how am I feeling right now? It get them to actually think about their feeling, process how they're feeling, and then come grab one of these guys. Like my 2-year-old the other day, or not my 2-year-old, I'm sorry, 5-year-old came and she's like, I feel love. So she grabbed this little pink love dot and puts a little spot on her desk. And then my other little guy was like, I feel, what did he say? I think he said happy peaced. And I was like, well, you can take happy and peaceful if you want, but they're happy and peaceful. And so it's just a fun way. And when they are like, for example, do a really good job and they're congratulated for like, wow, your handwriting is amazing, then they'll come and get the little confidence spot, like put it on their desk. But it's just a fun way to kind of get them to think, like I said, intentionally think behind kind of how they're feeling in the moment and things like that. But just a really fun thing. And again, this is absolutely 100% not necessary when it comes to doing things like that. It is just a fun addition that my little ones have been loving, so I thought I'd share it.